Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Bhante.
So we'll start now. Recite Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Sally, how can I share the? I'm in the Google Drive.
Yeah, you just share your screen, the same.
Doesn't show actually.
Hi,
When you
Bhante.
click,
You should go to your email and click on the invitation. So it should open another tab for you or another window for you.
Can you beg your pardon? Can you repeat, Dr. Ryan?
Yeah. So you just go to the email. I think the Sayale, she sent out an invitation, the email, and then you just open the email and click on the link, and it should open another tab or another window for you.
Okay. Okay. Sally has sent me 3 emails, right? Okay.
please click the Q&A that email.
Okay. But still, it doesn't show in the share screen.
The share screen, it should be the same as you did the previous.
Oh, Sally, it doesn't show. That's the problem.
I think that there should be an option for you to choose which screen you'd like to share, Bhante.
I'm now. I have opened the. Everything comes as Safari unknown, Google Chrome unknown. When I press the share screen, it comes as unknown.
So you open the email, do you see?
Yeah. I open and clicked it.
So in the email, you see the open button,
Yes, I
right?
clicked on it.
And you click on the open, and you didn't.
Yes.
You don't see anything.
No, when I clicked it, I went to the Google Drive, and I went to the Google Drive, and it opened. But when I come into the, how to say, the Zoom,
Yes.
it doesn't. When I come into Zoom, and it doesn't. When I press the share screen, okay, now it's okay, right?
Yeah, I think Bhante, there are different windows you can do.
Okay, no, because they asked me to allow. I had to allow for the share screen. Okay. I hope you can see now.
Yes, Bhante.
So we'll. I think we stopped somewhere around number 16. We didn't do the Ubaya Mantara question, and we'll continue with that. If I have done any questions, please remind me. So the question comes, Bhante, would you please give more explanation on Ubaya Mantara? So, if you remember the sutta, Buddha mentions, Neva ida na hurang na ubaya mantarena. This is the statement. Neva ida na hurang. Then na ubaya mantarena. So, this is the statement has led to some controversial points, like considering about antara bhava also. So if you translate this directly, it says Ida is in this life or in this world. Hurang is the next life afterwards, after this death. Then Ubaya Mantarena, how do we understand this term? So I have taken the commentarial part below in Pāli. So the commentary says, based on this statement, ubaya mantarena, ubaya mantarena, it doesn't exist. So we normally take it as in between. Antara has a meaning of between. Antara has many meanings. Sometimes it can refers to anya, something other. Sometimes it can refers to vina, means other than that, or means other means without it, and also it can also refers to the something between, a gap, sometimes even to the chitta. So there are many meanings you can find in the Nigandu for the Antara sound. Then here, according to the Theravada tradition, some teachers interpreted this as, so when someone has attained arahantship, he is not found in this world. It means his aggregates are not attached to this, or his defilements are not found. And hurang, and it means in the lives to come. And also ubaya mantarena, he is not found in between. So they were expounding about life in between, like this life and the next life, there should be another life which is called Antara Bhava. So, but the Theravadians deny this idea. So here I have quoted the commentarial explanation for Udāna Pāli. Ye pana ubaya mantarenati padang gahitva, some having taken this word ubaya mantara, Antara Bhavang Nama Ichanti, they would like to consider about different existence called Antara Bhava. Tesantam Micha, according to the Theravadians, it is wrong. Antara Bhavasahi Bhavo Abhidamme Patikitto Eva. Antara Bhavasahi Bhavo. So Bhava here means its existence or its possibility. Antara Bhavasahi Bhavo. So the existence or possibility of Antara Bhava is rejected in Abhidhamma, according to Theravadians. So now, if it is so, how do we explain this word, Antara Ubaya Mantarena? So there are two explanations for this. So that's what I have colored in red color. Antarenati Vachanang Pana Vikappan Antara Deepanang. So Antarenati, the word Antarena has the meaning of Vikappa Antara. So if you divide this word, it comes as Vikappa Antara, Deepanang. Deepanang is showing, it shows. So here Vikalpa means another alternative. Antara is Anya, other. So it shows the other alternative. So Tasma Ayametatto, therefore the meaning should be taken like this. Never either, not in this life, right? Not in this life. Then Na Hurang, not in the following lives, not in the following lives. Aparo Vikappo, another alternative, Na Ubayang, not on both. So it's a way of saying, like we say, it's not here, not there, not on the both places. Right? It seems a little bit odd because it seems like a redundant repetition, but this is how they explain, because we can take it's here, it's there, not in both people, not in both. So it's a way of considering. Yes.
Sorry, could you please make the font a little bit big size, because it looks very small.
Okay. Is it now okay?
Yeah, I know now it's okay, because even I'm using computer, it's still small, but some other phones, maybe they're using phone or something.
So then, so Aparo Vikappo is another alternative. So according to that, if we translate this Apara Vikappa, so how the meaning is, not here, here means in this life, not in the next life, and not in both. Here next life means future lives, not in both lives. So this Ubaya Mantarena, Antarena gives another way of considering. It's another alternative. Alternative means a way of considering. So this is how they take the first meaning. This is how the Theravadians consider Ubaya Mantarena. Then, because according to the statement, it is Na Ubaya Mantare, right? Na Ubaya Mantare. So Ubhayamantare here means another alternative, right? It means the both the lives, and it's negating by na. Negation was given by na. Then the second way of considering is, it's a little bit strange, but they consider atava antarenati. Another way of saying is antarenati vachanam pana. The word antara vikappa antara bhava deepanatta. So here it says vikappa antara deepanatta. It shows another alternative. So antara here is anya. Another vikappa is alternative. So here vikappa antara abhava deepanatta. So here we have to divide the word vikappa antara abhava plus abhava. So it became long. Vikappa antara abhava deepanatta. Deepana is showing. So absence of another alternative. Absence of another alternative, right? So in that sense, antara abhava, it's because the word vikappa has, antara has another meaning of vina. Vina means without. So this is what I discussed with my friend also. He suggested that this should be vina. Vina is like it's other than, it's without these two. So tasatto, the meaning should be taken. That's how the meaning should be taken. It's very difficult to go into the word order. If you go into the word order, it's very difficult to understand. Never either, not here, na hurang, not in the next life or for your future life. Ubaya mantare pana na anyantanang ati. So here ubaya mantare means we have to take is ubayang vina. Vina is without, right, other than. So there is no other place other than here and there, in this life and the next life. So it negates another possibility. So it means you are not found in this life, like your attachment and all these, and you are not found in the future lives. And then you are not found in another place other than these two. Ubayang vina pana na anyang thanang atti. There is no other place other than like he is not found here, not found there, not even in another place. So this is in here, the other, this antara refers to, ubaya antara refers to another place. It's like a third place. But in the first definition, it is a way of considering. It's a one kind of a method to, it's a one kind of a method to consider. It means we have to take neither in this life, not in the next life, not in the both lives. In the third way, in the second way of considering, it says not in this life, not in the next or future lives, and not in another place other than these two. These two is this life and next life. This is how the Theravadians used to consider about this. So I'll conclude the explanation. I'll come to a Dhamma explanation after this, after concluding this grammatical analysis. So according to this, this is a one way of considering. It's like aparo vikappo means like you have to consider, because here we are not telling about another new place. It's not in this life, not in the next life, not in the both lives. So both lives means we are repeating the two lives that we have already mentioned. So we are, if you consider in another way even, they are not found in, he is not found in the both lives. But in the second way of explanation, not in this life, not in the next life, not in another place other than this. So we are here, we are talking about the third place, and it's rejecting. There is no other place other than these two. There is no other. So according to the Theravadians, this doesn't imply of antara bhava, but for some teachers considered this statement as something of antara bhava. This is how we explain according to the tradition. If you have any questions on this.
So Bhante, so here I mean not in another place. What does mean another place? It means the another Jakavara or something.
No, that it says that there is no other place other than these two. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't indicate about another life, right? So there is no other place that he exists other than these two. So it doesn't mean of another Chakavala or another thing. It says either you exist in this life, either you exist in the future life, or future means lives to come, and there is no other place that you exist. So it's like a negating of another existence. Like it's not regarding to other Chakavala or any other thing. It's one way of negating of a possibility of a life between. I can also feel it's a little bit the tricky the explanation, but this is how we get it. This statement.
But if like this, I think the first and the second, there's no much difference.
First and the second.
Yes.
First is like this life, next life, not on both lives, right? Here we are telling not in this life, not in that life, not in another life, not in other place, other than these two.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Wendy.
Okay, so I think it's clear, right? It seems little bit, the second explanation seems little bit similar to what the other teachers have mentioned, because according to them, it's not found here, not found there, not in between, not in a life in between. So according to them, Ubaya Mantara is a life in between this life and the next life, which is called Antara Bhava. So here, Theravadians are not explaining it as a between life. They are telling it as there's no other place other than these two lives that he exists. So it's slightly different. So there are three interpretations. The non-Theravada interpretation is Antara is taken as between, Ubhayamanta, between this life and the next life. The Theravadian two interpretations is Antara is, first explanation of Antara is not in this life, not in next life, not in both lives. And the other way of explanation, not in this life, not in next life, not in another place other than these two. So it is not talking about a life between. They are telling there is no other place other than these two that he exists. So it doesn't indicate about Antara Bhava according to Theravadiya. So these are the three interpretations that we have about these two, this term. Theravadians don't go with the in-between thing. So this Antara Bhava is a controversial thing in our traditions. So some traditions have an idea that when someone dies and is born, especially in the human realm, this can be applied to Peta and animals also, because sometimes Petas are born in as Gabbaseyaka, like born out of mother. Some Petas can be born in all the four ways, four modes of birth. So therefore, the commentary says this Antara Bhava is mainly discussed about not for the hell beings, then the Asanya Satta and Arupa, and also it should include Brahmas. So these in between, like some devas, like the Bhumatu devas, can be born as some with all four forms of birth. So especially we can focus on the human birth. So according to them, when someone dies and is supposed to be born as a human again, he spends certain time in between life, like after his life, after we consider him as dead, and after he's born, there is a life between. So during that time, he goes and finds a suitable place, suitable parents, and so forth. And in the Tibetan tradition, we find that after someone dies, they recite the book of death, considering that the dead person would listen to this sermon. And that book of death explains how he should behave during this intermediate life. Like there are certain traps that if you don't guard your senses, that you would fall into a trap and lose the opportunity of getting into a good life. And only if he's capable to go overcome, like go through these burdens, like difficult states, he will be able to be born as a human being. So the book of death instructs him. So these things will happen during this time, and you should behave in such a manner. So that is their idea. So according to them, there is a state called Antara Bhava. But and also one renowned scholar of the Theravadiyas, the Balangoda Ananda Metteyya, who wrote the Pāļi Made Easy, who was well learned in many Buddhist traditions. He also accepted this idea of Antara Bhava, and he considered, because the thing was, if you are born as a human being after dying and is supposed to be born as a human being, there should be a suitable birth, suitable mother, suitable family for your birth according to your karma. So therefore, it is not possible that there is always a womb ready according to your karma. So therefore, if it is ready, okay, you can be born. Otherwise, you may stay in an intermediate state till you get a proper womb to be born. So according to him, what happens, when a man dies and he's supposed to be born as a human being, if it is a spontaneous birth, Upapatika birth, this is not necessary as far as I know, according to this explanation. But if he's supposed to be born as a human being, during that time, what happens, his Utuja Kaya dies, but his Kammaja and Chittaja Rupas come out of the body together with the Chitta. So according to him, during the Antara Bhava, the being is very similar to his appearance that he had in the human life. So according to that, he is not fully dead. His physical body is dead, the Utuja body is dead, but his Kammaja, Chittaja body is still alive. So during that time, there is Rupas rise and pass away. They are Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. And then whenever he gets a suitable body, he passes and he is born in a mother's womb. And that is the moment he fully dies. So this is how their argument was. It is not possible that there should be a proper womb ready according to your karma. So then, but the Theravadians hold the idea, if you throw a stone into the sky, it will fall somewhere on the earth. So likewise, if you have a Kusala Kamma to be born as a human being, he will be born as a human being somewhere. So according to Theravadian interpretation, as far as I understand, it's like our karma plays a huge role in the place we are born, the family, the status of the family, the views of the family, it plays a huge role. For example, we normally say if a Sotapanna is reborn in a human realm, he will be born in a very rich family. At the same time, a family that follows the correct view, not in a family which follows wrong view. That is the normal explanation about a rebirth of a Sotapanna, according to tradition, in the human realm. So therefore, the karma does play a huge role in our rebirth, the nature of our rebirth. So then a question comes, a person is supposed to be born as is a very huge, strong karma, and is supposed to be born as a rich person. But if any of the rich mothers are not ready, for example, a proper mother is not ready, what happens to him? Because when we die, a certain karma nimitta or gata nimitta comes forth because of a past karma, and because of that we are born. It's not that the karma doesn't come having chosen which mother to be born. First the karma comes, and then based on that we are born in a certain place. So then how do the Theravadians explain these dilemmas? How they explain this without the Antara Bhava? So according to them, as far as I understand, this is my personal understanding. So if, for example, you have a strong karma to be born in a strong good family, but if there is no such a mother ready till that, then what happens? He will be born in any of the human families. whose mother womb is ready. Like he'll be born in a whatever. It's not necessarily the necessity factor is you have a karma to be born in the human realm, and where you are born, exactly which parent and everything can have that may depend on certain conditions. Only if there is a suitable mother ready, he will be born in such a place. Otherwise, he will be born randomly in a human realm, maybe in a poor family, middle class family, or a family with a wrong view, and so forth. So that's why, personally, I think that is maybe one reason why Bodhisattva, such a great being, was born here and there in the samsara, not always in a very rich and high class families. So that's how a Theravadian would explain this problem. But I'm not saying that Theravadins are correct and others are wrong, because the argument they bring is also a valid point, because according to the sutras, teachings we say, karma plays a huge role based on our birth, because to be born in a high class family and so forth, according to the Chulla Kamma Vibhanga Sutta, they are based on the social conditions of the era. The karma plays a huge role. So in such case, so their argument is also a valid point, but Theravadians would explain it is not necessarily that all the details of the birth is decided by the karma. So yeah, that's how I would explain it. And this has been discussed in the Katha Vattu. You can look into the Antara Bhava Katha of the Katha Vattu. It explains the Theravadians do not like the idea of a Antara Bhava. Yeah. So if you have any questions on this.
Bhante, I have two questions, yes. Bhante. So is it like the second argument is specifically for rejecting the Antara Bhava, Bhante?
What do you mean?
Like this, the one not in this life, not in the next life, and not in another place, Bhante. Is this one specifically for? Okay, Bhante. And the other question is about what you just mentioned earlier. So does it mean that, for example, that if a person he has the karma to be born in rich family, but at that moment there is no such family exists, does it mean that karma become like a hosi because he doesn't meet the condition, and another karma comes in place, like Bhante?
But personally, what I feel was, I'm not sure whether this is the perfect answer. The most important part is he has a karma, because according to the explanations of the Theravadians, karma decides the yoni. Yoni means the species you are born into. Karma decides the species, and the nature of the species decides your appearance, right? So there is some kind of the ultimate dhammata. It's a ultimate nature which governs the qualities of the species, the appearance of the species. So the karma decides the species. So as long as the karma is capable enough to give a rebirth in the human realm, that is enough. But the detailed points, like he'll be born in a rich family, high class family, family following the correct view, and so forth, these details can or may not change. It's like if there's a suitable place, he will be born in that place. Otherwise, he will be born randomly according to his karma. I'm not denying the law of karma, because the karma takes you to the human realm. But whether he'll be born in the high family, rich family, all these secondary details depends on certain conditions. So therefore, I feel like it's not denying the karma. It's like the secondary aspects of the life are not only decided based on the karma, but of the other reasons also, like if there is a suitable place to be born and so forth.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you very much, Bhante.
Hi, Bhante.
Hello, Dr. Ryan.
Yes, I just have an opinion. So you said that in the case of the Sotapanna,
Yes.
so he is destined to be born in a good family and so on, according to his his karma. So why don't we just take an example of the Bodhisattva in his
Right.
last life? So
Yeah.
does that mean that because of his very good karma, so everything has to be arranged for him
Yeah.
to be born in that life? So for example, for the Sotapanna, so maybe can we say that at the moment he becomes a Sotapanna, then from that point on, it looks like that karma is going to have some effect. Something have to be arranged for him in the future for his new rebirth. So can we think about it like that?
Yeah, it's another alternative way of thinking, like based on our karma. If the karma is very strong, as you said, yeah, that is also possible. Like the Bodhisattva's life, everything has arranged for his birth and all this. That's another possible alternative. But what we are bringing as a suggestion is very strong. Two examples of very strong karmas, right? Very powerful karmas.
Yes, of course, it has to be a very strong karma. Yes.
Yeah. In such cases, I would agree. I would also accept that things do change based on our strong karma, like a Sotapanna or the Bodhisattva. But how about a normal person?
Yeah, I know, I understand. It's just because because you brought up the example of the Sotapanna, because so I think of the case of the Bodhisattva, there should be something arranged for him in that case, I think. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
But Bhante, like Dr. Ryan's idea and that type of arrangement, I think is only for the body, the Sama Sambuddha, the future Buddha or Bajika Buddha, Eka Savaga, Maha Savaga, or the Bodhisattva's mother, the parents, and that type of things, they can be arranged. But for normal like arahants or normal future arahants, so they are not arranged. You have to be born in a very rich family or something, right?
Yeah, that's why we also had the discussion. Such high cases, yes, we can think of such a arrangement, and the evidences are there, we can say. But in the normal multitudes of humans, like most of the beings, it's something we have to consider. So this is a place, personally, I feel the Theravada explanation is not very, I feel it seems like strong, but the other opinion makes sense. That's why the Parliament C.C. Sayadaw has given such an explanation that he's living in a Antarabhava state. Being a Theravadian, he accepted that view of the other sects because and with some practical evidences, that with scientific research that was done based on that. So even being a Theravadian, I'm personally, I feel like that Antarabhava case, the explanation is quite little bit solid, but the problem comes whether the Kamaja Rupa and Chittaja Rupa, can they come out from the Utuja Rupa and exist alone as an astral body. They call this the astral body, the body that comes from this body. So according to them, there are two types of bodies: the Utuja body, and there's an astral body, which is a subtle body with Kamaja Rupas. So the question comes, according to Theravada standpoint, it is because we say the Chitta doesn't move. So it's impossible, according to Theravada doctrine, such an astral body comes out and move. So that is the point that denies of such a explanation. Otherwise, we have, according to the Theravadians, we have two options. We have to either say, according to our karma, the environment will be arranged. That is the one opinion, one option of saying. According to the karma, whether it's strong or weak, the environment is arranged. The other way of explanation is karma do decide the realm, the life we are born in, but not all the details. Not all the details. So therefore, he'll be born in the human realm, but not always according to fully collaborating with this karma, can be born randomly in the human realm. And then one time, one very nice question was asked by one devotee. Sometimes according to our tradition, we say karma decides the species. Species is like, it can be the deva, human, and so forth, and that's the realm. And also it can be whether he's born as a cat or a dog. So this is also kind of a different species. So the karma decides the species, and the species decides the appearance. So one devotee asked me a question once. Now, how about Bhante? There have been so much species in the world. Some are already extinct. So how about a karma that was done should be born in extinct species? So how, if that karma comes at the end, how he would be born? So it's a very, very, very valid question. So how can we explain this according to the Buddhist standpoint? So what I thought was we have to come into an idea. The main division of the karma is based on the realms. So he is supposed to be born in the animal realm, supposed to be born in the human realm. So within the animal realm, whether he's a cat or a dog or a dinosaur or a extinct species, it depends on certain conditions. So if he is suitable to be born as a, for example, a dinosaur, if there is no such a being, maybe he's born as a reptile. So in that main group. So that is how I explained it. Like sometimes the karma doesn't have the opportunity to go into very detail and give the rebirth. So these are the two options what I see. As Dr. Ryan said, either the conditions have to be arranged based on our karma, or either our karma gives birth only in the specific realm, but the other conditions, if there are suitable conditions available, he'll be born accordingly. Otherwise, there will be a random birth.
So Bhante, sorry, I have one more question.
Okay.
So if this Andhra Baba exists, so what kind of being we call? Because
Yeah,
they are not ghosts, right?
Yes. So that is the argument Sally the Katavattu brings. They say if you are talking about Antara Bhava, there should be, we have 4 yoni, right? 4 like Andaja, Jalabhuja, Sansedha, Upaja. What kind of a yoni is that? Then it should be 5 yoni. It should be 10 bhava, not 9 bhava. It should be 6 gati, not 5 gati. So this is the argument that Theravada Katavattu is bringing. So if you're advocating a new bhava called Antara bhava, so all the system of explanation should change. So what kind of a being it is, to which realm he belongs to, is he a human or a ghost? Because according to that, he is not still dead. So there are a lot of complications coming out. So that's why the Theravadians do not accept this idea. They strongly reject this. For your further studies, please, you can see, I have marked it Katavattu 505 paragraph. 505 paragraph, Katavattu, and its commentary and sub-commentary. I have marked it. You can see it's Antara Bhava Kata. So this is one point they bring. If it is such a being, how do we classify him? So therefore, I'm unable to give you an answer, Sally, because the Theravadians do not accept this idea.
Okay, Bhante. Oh, sorry. Regarding the Katavattu, in Myanmar, I saw some sayadaw said the Buddha preached the 7 Abhidhamma in the Deva realm, but the Katavattu is not one of them. But why those sayadaws still say the 7 books?
According to the tradition, the Buddha has given, if you read the Katavattu, the first kata, the Puggala kata, it's explained in, if I remember, 12 ways. There's a way of explanation. So according to the tradition, the modern scholars would not agree on this, I think. According to the tradition, Buddha gave this method. So Katavattu was, according to the tradition, Katavattu was preached in the Deva world, and also given to the monks by the Buddha, taught to the monks by the Buddha in certain ways, to Sariputta. It's the method. The Katavattu method was given, not the discussions that we find in the Katavattu. It is the Naya. Naya means the method of elaborating. That is what was given by the Buddha, not the entire Kathavat.
I see. Okay, okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. So shall we move to the next question? Okay.
Yes, Bhante.
So it's got in the question number 12 of the Solasamo Sajjahayo, the correct answer is so Buddho Bhavitum Gato. I do not understand why the noun Buddha was written in nominative case. Could Bhante please explain more about it? So Buddho Bhavitum Gato. So here it's like so Gato, he went. So this is a normal sentence. So and Gato, he has gone or he went. So Gato ahosi, Gato hoti, or something like that. You can put a verb here if you want. Hoti or ahosi. Then this is the part. Buddho Bhavitum. Bhavitum is to become, right? Bhavitum is to become. So it's an infinitive according to how we classify. It's the infinitive. So this is a change of the person, like Pakatikattu and Vikatikattu, we can call it. So this is the original person, and he changes into a Buddha. He had the desire to become a Buddha. He had the intention to become. Bhavitum is to become. It shows his intention, its desire. So then he is the same person who wants to be the Buddha. So if this person is nominative in the sentence, even though he transforms into someone else, the same person. So therefore, in the same person in a one sentence should be written in the same case. That is the rule. I'll repeat again, the same thing or the same person in a certain sentence should have the same case ending. So Gato, he went, and Bhavitum, to become whom? Buddha. So he is the one who becomes the Buddha. So therefore, Buddha also written in nominative case. For example, if we write another similar example, we write so Khattang. Khattang is wood, like a firewood. Angarang Karoti. He makes wood charcoal. So this wood is changed into charcoal. It's the same thing. The same thing has transformed into charcoal, the same wood. So therefore, we write in the same case ending. Because the same thing which has undergone the transformation. So here, so Buddho Bhavitum Gato or Gachi, if it's with the Gachi is easier, he went to become a Buddha. So he had the desire to be a Buddha. The same person wants to be the Buddha. So as the Khatta, the same wood was made into charcoal. The same person wants to be a Buddha. So it's written in the nominative case. Same case. So is nominative. This is Buddha also nominative. I hope it's clear. Any questions on this? Okay. So then we'll go to the next question. In Abhidhammatta Sangaha, it is said that out of the 52 Chetasikas, 11 are Aniyata Yogi. 11 are Aniyata Yogi, unfixed adjunct. Unfixed adjunct. 11 are Aniyata Yogi. Right. Among these 11 are Tina and Midda. Could you please explain why Tina and Midda are Aniyata Yogi? So Aniyata Yogi means they don't appear in a certain chitta always. For example, Mana is Aniyata Yogi. Ditti is Niyata Yogi because we classify the Ditti as Ditti Gata Sampayutta Chitta. So Ditti is sure to arise in that chitta. And Ditti Gata Vipayutta Chitta, Mana may arise or may not arise. So it's called Aniyata Yogi. Niyata Yogi is, it's connected, fixedly connected, fixedly arising. It appears in them for sure. So someone asked me a question one time, Bhante, you decide Ditthigata Sampayutta Chitta and Ditthigata Vipayutta Chitta. If you classify the Chitta as Manas Sampayutta and Mana Vipayutta, then Mana would be Niyata Yogi and Ditti would be Aniyata Yogi. It's also a nice argument. So then that's how the Chitta has been divided. So we cannot break that rule. So if the Chitta was classified as Ditthigata Sampayutta and Ditthigata Vipayutta, in the Ditthigata Sampayutta Chitta, Ditti is a must. Had the Chittas been classified as Mana Sampayutta and Mana Vipayutta, the Mana will be fixed on that Chitta. Ditti will be Aniyata Yogi in Mana Vipayutta Chitta. But there is no such a classification. This is just an argument. So therefore, now if a certain Chitta, a certain Chetasika doesn't appear in a certain Chitta, a specific Chitta, and it doesn't appear always, then it is called Aniyata Yogi. The Issa Machariya Kukucha may arise in two Dosamula Chitta, may not. May or may not. So Tina Middha also arise in Sasankharika Chittas, but sometimes, not always. Sasankharika Chitta is sometimes. Like for example, we have intention to do something. Sometimes we are lazy to do it, and then we do it with laziness. So with a lazy mind, weakened mind. So that's the Tina Middha is possible. But sometimes we are reluctant to do something because of some other incident. Like for example, someone is in a far part of a monastery, and he's supposed to go and pay respect to the senior sayadaws, senior teachers, but there's a rain coming, or it's too late. So sometimes with wise contemplation, he may think it's not proper time for me to go, so he rejects it. And then he thinks, no, it's other, even though the time is not proper because of these reasons, I should go and meet the teacher. Then he starts the action. This action is done with the Sasankharika Chitta because he had the retreating nature in the beginning. He retarded. He stepped backwards. So this is a Sasankara. He does the action with the Sasankarika Chitta. But in that Chitta, there is no Tina Middha, weakness of the mind. He had a contemplation. Because of his contemplation, consideration, he thought not to do it. And then he initiated the thought because of another consideration. So therefore, Sasankarika Chitta is not always associated with Tina Middha. So that's why Tina Middha is Aniyata Yogi. Aniyata Yogi. Then, but they are all, another word for them is Sahayogi. Another word is Sahayogi. Sahayogi means when they arise together always. They never arise apart from each other. So, Tina Middha are Aniyata Yogi in Sasankarika Chittas, Sahayogi in, and also Sahayogi. They arise always together. For example, Virati in the Lokuttara Chittas is Niyata Yogi, Sahayogi, and they arise always, all the time. But in the Kamavachara Kusala Chittas, they are Aniyata Yogi, right? They arise separately, they arise sometimes, and they are not Sahayogi, they are always individual, they never arise together, right? So they never arise together. But Tina Middha is like not like that, they arise always together, but not always in the Sasankarika Chitta. Is it clear?
Yeah, hi, Bhante.
Yes, that's right.
So, okay, this is kind of strange because so according to my understanding is, so for a Cetasika to be called Aniyata
Yes.
Yogi, then for a particular Chitta, sometimes it can be associated with that or not. So for example, you give the example of the Ekta, Michariya, or Kukuja. So they sometimes can associate it with Dosamula Chitta, sometimes they are not. So that's why they are classified as the Aniyata Yogi.
Yes.
But for the Tina Middha, they are always associated with the Akusala Sasankarika. They are always associated with those Chittas.
No, Dr. Ryan. According to Abhidhamma Sangaha, they are not always. Because Akusala Sasankarika Chittas, we have, for example, the Mana Ditthigata Sampayutta Sasankarika, we have two possible countings. One is 19 Chetasikas with Ditti, and sometimes 21, 19 or 21, we normally count.
Sasankarika.
Sasankarika. Asankarika is always 1, 19. Sasankarika is 19 or 21 we count.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay, so then
yeah, Dittigata Vipayutta, we have 4 possibilities. That is without mana or Tinamita is 18. Somanasa one I'm talking. Then with mana is 19. Without mana and but with Tinamidda is 20. With mana and Tinamidda all 21.
I see. Okay. Okay, so I misunderstood. So that's why. Okay. All right. Thank you, Bhante. Yeah.
So then comes, is it correct that all beings except Asanya Satta start their new life after with a Manodwara Viti whose javanas are Loba Mula Chittas? If so, is it that these javanas must be a certain kind of Loba Mula Chitta for all beings, or that they can be any of the 8 depending on the individuals? Yes, according to Theravadians, anyone who is born other than Asanya Satta gets a Bhava Nikantika Loba. That happens normally. We come with the Patisandhi, then we come to the Bhavanga. So we have, according to the books, either 15 or 16 Bhavanga Chittas. Then we come into the Manodwara Vajjana, right? So these 2 Bhavanga, the Bhavanga Charana, Bhavanga Upacheda. Then Manodwara Vajjana, we have 7 Javana. Yeah. Yeah. So we have 7 Javanas. And then we have Tadalamana and Bhavanga. This Tadalamana is not always. It can be exceptional, depending on the object. So this is the normal BT that we talk in the Theravada tradition. So always the life starts with the first VT is this one is associated Lob Mula Chittas. It can be any of the 8 Lob Mula Chittas. But the thing is, it's also a good question because it's Nikanti. He's attached to that life. He is delighted in that life. So this is the Nikanti Buddha mentioned in the Dhammacakka Sutta as Tatrabi Nandini. Right? Tatra Tatrabi Nandini. So a being who is born here and there, wherever he's born, that being delights in that new life. That being delights in the new life. So that is a nature of any being who is born. Even you are born in the hell life, still they like attached to this new life. So Tatra Tatra, wherever he's born, Abhinandini. This is a word for Tanha. It's a one samasa word. Tatra Tatra Abhinandini. The Tanha which delights in here and there. Wherever he's born, he's delighted. Because the first VT always arises Lob Mula Chittas. So it seems like it's a Somana, should be Somanasa Sahagata because Abhinandini is delighted. It's delighted. So what I have seen, I haven't seen like it's normally it says any of the 8 Lob Mula Chitta. That's how the books have, but the books that I have read mention is any of the 8 Lob Mula Chittas. But the question is a very valid one because according to the statements, we find he is delighted in that life. So delight comes always with piti. So it should be a Somanasa Chitta. So this is something that we have to think further and go for research. And if he's a noble being, it should be Loba Dittigata Vipayutta Chitta. This is what I have seen. Either 8 of the Loba Mula Chittas, and for the noble beings, even for the Akanita beings, Dittigata Vipayutta Loba Mula Chittas. There was no classification or distinction between Somanasa and Upekha on this explanation. So I'm unable to give an exact answer. What I have seen is any of the 8 Lob Mula Chittas. That's what I have read in certain books. Yeah. So, and then this Tadalammana, if that life is a Kamavachara life, Tadalammana will arise. If the life is a Brahma life, because he is getting the life, the Kammaja Rupa and Chitta Chetasikas are the object of this life. Some books I have seen, they say the Patisandhi Chitta is the object, which is very, very odd to understand, because we don't recall our Patisandhi Chitta and Bhavanga Chitta, and how could it happen in this place? So either it should be, my personal understanding is he's unable to distinguish what is Kammaja Rupa and all these at that moment. It's just that he is delighted in the existence, that the happening of this life. The life, because the Chitta is taking the consciousness and it has happened. So this happening is what is delighted in. So is the collectively he is taking the aggregates or the existence as something delighted collectively. So it's like these all like this existence in a common manner, collective manner. But I also have seen in a certain book, the object is Patisandhi Chitta. But still, if you take it collectively, the Patisandhi Chitta is also included. But I don't think he'll be able to distinguish the Patisandhi Chitta, because it's a very subtle Chitta, which is unable to grab. Or otherwise, we have to bring a statement that because it's the first VT, there's an exceptional case that he's able to see the Patisandhi, which is unlikely to happen. Yeah, these are the things that I would like to share. So the object should be the life, and it happens after 15 or 16 Bhavanga Chittas, and it's mentioned as any of the 8 low mula chittas for Putujjanas, any of the 4 Ditthigata Vipayuta low mula chittas for Aryas. But still the question remains, if it is delighting in that life, why its Upekka is counted? It should be Somanassa. A very valid argument. And final statement as an advice given by our Theras. Now, even like it's mentioned in the Milinda Panya also, the hell being is suffering in the hell with immense of suffering, but he likes to get out of that hell. He likes to get released from that suffering, but in that same life. Even the hell being doesn't want to die and born in the new life, because even he likes that existence. Especially he doesn't have such an intellectual power, so surely he would not think about intellectually about a new life and so forth. So the Milinda Panya says even the being in the hell doesn't want to die. What he wishes is to get released from that suffering in the same life. So our Mahatera used to say, when you transfer merits to the dead, like if someone is wishing for merits as a Peta, never give merits as may he die from there and born in a good realm. They'll be afraid to, he said they'll be afraid to rejoice on that merit, because we are talking about their death. For us, it's a suffering state, so we wish them to be born as a divine beings, but for them, that is their life. So even though still, if even we know will be born in a good realm, but still we fear our death. That is the nature of all beings. So therefore, our Mahatera says never give, like in Sinhalese we call Chutaveva. Chutaveva means chuti, you know the Pāļi word. May he pass away from that existence and be born in a good state. So if you give sight in that manner, they will be afraid to rejoice your merit. So the way of giving is, may he be free from the suffering. So in most of the cases, you lead to Petavattu, we have seen as a Peta, they get the divine pleasures. They get the vehicles, they get the clothes, they get the food, and so forth. So it's another point, because every being who is born is attached to their life. Yeah, if you have any questions on this explanation.
But can I confirm? It means
yes.
Even the being is in the hell, we cannot wish the being ends the life in the hell, right?
I beg your pardon, I couldn't hear you clearly. It was not clear to me. Question.
Oh, okay. no matter the being is in the hell or in one of the four abaya, we can never wish the being to add the existence in the hell or abaya, not only in the human realm, right?
No, it's like this. What I meant was, we normally wish they die and born in a good realm. That is an intellectual wish. We understand, because he's in suffering. He's not going to get anything staying in the hell. But what mentioned was his intention. The being would never decide to die and be born. The wish of the being is to get rid of that suffering state, but in the same form. For example, when we get a sickness, we would like to get cured in the same life, not dying and born and a healthy human being. That's our nature. So the same way, all the suffering beings in the suffering realms do not wish for their death. It doesn't mean that we are intellectually, we know death of a hell being is a bliss, because he dies and is born in a good realm. So Mahavira didn't say not to wish. He said, if you give merits, hell beings cannot get merits for sure. If you give merits to Petas, because they can see our merits, they rejoice on our merits. But if our intention is to, may they pass away and born in a good realm, surely they will be afraid of that, because it's like we are wishing for their death. So surely they will not rejoice on that merit, because it's like rejoicing on their own death, accepting their death. So it doesn't mean that our merit will kill them and take them to a good realm. It may happen or it may not happen. So what he mentioned was, don't wish in such a manner, because they will be afraid. But intellectually, that should be our wish, right? We would like them to pass away quickly and be born in a good realm. So intellectually, it's not wishing for their death. We are wishing that maybe they be released from this suffering quickly and be born in a good, woeful state. That we do wish like that. It's a good kind of a wish. We are not wishing for their death. We are wishing for them to get released from that suffering and be born in a good realm. Eventually, he has to die for that to be born like that. But what Mahatera mentioned was, don't say it in words, or don't give merits in such a way, because they'll be afraid to rejoice on your merit.
Oh,
Is it
thank
clear,
you,
sister?
Bhante.
Is it clear?
Yeah. My question was just sometimes like the Queen Malika, she after her death, she was reborn in the hell or some bad place for only 1 week, right? So I
Right.
think if we wish someone in hell for a short time, or wish the being death in hell, that will be no problem. But after this, I understood not only for human being, even for being in the hell, we can never wish like that.
I didn't say like that. What I mentioned was such a wish, like if you wish that may he be released from that hell, it's a good wish. I'm not saying it's not a bad wish. What I'm saying is, when you are giving merits to Petas, what I'm saying is, when you are giving merits to Petas, if you say it like that, they'll be afraid to observe the merits.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Surely,
Thank you, Bhante.
wish for them to be released from hell as soon as possible is a good wish, as far as I understand.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So Bhante, I
Yes.
think in some Suttas, the Buddha talk about they said all beings are afraid of death.
Yeah.
So it means because we don't know our destination, so that's why we are very afraid of death. But if we know our destination, for example, now we are suffering, but maybe in our next life we will be so happy and we will be in a very good place. So we will wish, okay, let us die earlier or something like that. And the main reason is because we don't know our destination, right?
Are you sure if even we know our destination, we will be happy to die? Are you sure?
I think so.
Okay. I would not say anything, but I personally feel even we know it's it will be little. There are many reasons. We fear our death, that experience of death, loss of our beloved ones, the loss of separation from the places we used to stay. I think it will not be easy as we think. But I do understand one of the main reasons for fear of death is we don't know what is going to happen. That's true. That is one of the biggest reasons. But there is also a fundamental attachment to this life, which doesn't wish for the discontinuation of this life. That is also another reason, I feel.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Then shall we do one more question? Would you please elaborate on this phrase? Chivara pindapata senasana ilana pache besajja parikkarana. So chivara is the robes, any of the robes that are used for, we have 9 types of robes normally. I think you studied in Vinaya, like the outer robe, inner robe, under robe, and then the robes wearing for the sickness, robe for the bathing cloth and sitting cloth, the bed cloth, and also whatever cloth that is necessary to be used. They can be used for our covering our body, and also to protect the chairs, protect the robes, and also robes can be used as a means of walls in the kuti. We call it chivara kuti. Sometimes monks make kutis out of robes covering. So there are many usages, usage of robes. Sometimes we use robe as an umbrella, like you keep the robe above your head to get rid of the sunshine. So then pindapata is mainly the food that is collected on the bowl. Like mainly the word comes from, according to the commentaries, like something that is collected by going for pindapata. Pindapata means going for alms. So the pinda that is put onto the pata, like pata is to put something down, is also can be called pindapata. Or the pindole, the word called something, the food that has been collected by going for alms is also called pindapata. This can be any food that we consume, like especially the food not except the medicine. Then we come to senasana. The word senasana is divided as sena plus asana. So sena is seti, comes from seti. The root is seti. C root plus na. I think it's long, right? C plus na. So E become A, then becomes sena. So this na has the meaning of locative. Locative meaning. So it denotes to the place where we lie down. C is to lie down. So the place where we lie down is called sena. Asana comes from the root A plus C. Then we come to sad, right? Sorry. Sad, right? Asana. Can you help me? What is the root actually? C, or I forgot it. Ana. Yeah, right. C plus ana. Then we come into the root asana. So ana is also the locative meaning. So A plus C gives the meaning of sit, to sit. C
And
only. Yeah.
Sorry, I think the root is as.
Wait, one moment. Lie down. As, is it?
Yes, they it's from the asati. The meaning of nisidati, yes.
Sorry for that. As is to sit, right? So this is the two. Now the C to lie down, then as to sit, ana in the locative case, na also in the locative case. So sena refers to the place where you lie down, asana refers to the place where you sit. So combine senasana. So the places where we sit and lie down and sit. So it's the dwellings It can be the bed, can be the chair, can be a building, whatever place it is. So according to the Aryavansa Sutta, we have Aryavansa Sutta commentary. We have 15 types of senasana. Even a Velugumba can be considered. Velugumba means where the two bamboo trees come together like an arch and makes a shade. In that place also we can use it as a senasana, but it cannot be used for observing vasa. For the purpose of meditating, we can use it. So Rukkamula, or even sometimes the Rukkamula is considered senasana, something that we sit below to meditate. But here, when we say Chivara Pindapada Senasana Gilana Pache Besajja, which is offered, we are talking about materials that were made for the purpose of lying and sitting. But when you go into the meditation aspect, say Aryavansa Senasana, even Rukkamula, Velugumba, these natural sites can also be considered senasana. So this is Vinaya as like when we offer dana and when we go into the meditation aspect, senasana is twofold. Then we have Gilana Pachaya. Gilana Pachaya, double P, Besajja, Parikkara. So Pachaya here means the things that destroy the sickness, or things because of which the sickness is cured. Besajja is the Bisakkassa Kamma, the thing that was done by a doctor, physician. Bisakka is the physician. Bisakkassa Kammang is Besajja, according to the traditional explanation. Bisakka plus I think ya become Besajja. And Bisakkassa Kammam Besajja is a change formation. So then, yeah, Besajja. So Besajja is a medicine that is recommended or made by the doctor specifically. Parikkara is the things that protects you. Parikkara, or the things that enables you to continue your life. Protects and enables to continue. So both the meanings are possible. So the Pachaya, the causes that supports the eradicates the sickness of the Gilana, the sick person, and also the medicine recommended or specially made by the doctor for the sick persons, which would protect someone from sickness and also facilitates the continuation of the life, is called Gilana Pache Besajja Parikkara. So the Gilana Pache Besajja Parikkara is opposite of Roga. Roga is the sickness. According to our Abhidhamma, Roga is, we have two definitions for Roga. That is we call it distortion, or breaking, how do you call it, distortion? Distort, right? Distort, to break something, right? It is a transitive noun, but here it's intransitive. Distortion, I would call, of the equilibrium. Can someone help me? The spellings?
Yes, L, no, just one L. L-I-B-R E-B, no, not E, B-R-I-O-U-N, I think.
Right, thank you. This is the equilibrium of the 4 UR elements. That's one definition of Roga. The second definition is, because of this, due to this equilibrium, the painful feeling, bodily feeling, due to the distortion of the great elements. 4 elements, or the 3 elements according to Ayurveda. We have bile, air and phlegm, or maybe those three elements, or the four great elements, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. So these are the two definitions. This definition is the common, the painful feeling. The second definition you can find in the Visuddhimagga Tika when you go to find out this Gilana Paccaya Besaja Parikkara. Two actions, like the equilibrium of the four great elements is broken, especially after Utuja Rupa. But when the Utuja Rupa is distorted, the other three rupas are also distorted. So, but the Roga means the disorder of the equilibrium of the four great elements like of four types of rupa. We have four types of rupa: Kamma, Chitta, Uttu, Ahara. But it happens with the Utuja Rupa, initiated with the Utuja Rupa. So Lady Shadow says Roga always comes to the Utuja. Even though it's caused by Kamma, it happens in the Utuja Rupa, then the remaining rupas are affected by that. So these are the two definitions of Roga for your extra information. So Gilana Paccaya balances, brings back that equilibrium again and reduces the painful feeling. That is the Paccaya, and Besaja is that medicine which was made by a doctor or recommended by a doctor, and that medicine itself protects our life from getting distorted again, or making the equilibrium back, bringing back the equilibrium, or then so makes it the life to continue. So these are the definitions that I would like to give on these four basic requisites. If you have any questions.
Bhante?
Yes, Brother Robbie.
Yes, Bhante. I would like to ask a question. Like about few days ago, I heard one Dhamma talk from one Bhante. And in that Dhamma talk, I remember that he mentioned that in Abhidhamata Sanghaha, we know that the Chitta is either 89 or 121, Bhante. But he mentioned that there are actually more than that in Dhamma Sanggani, Bhante. So is that true, Bhante?
It's a classification, the way of classification. You can classify Chitta in a more detailed way. It doesn't mean that there are many Chitta, like 89 is the, as far as feel, if you take the Rupavachara Chittas, so they are in Dhammasangani, they are classified based on the jhana, the meditation. Now, Kasina have 10 Kasina, and all the Kasina have 5 jhana, right? So then we have 50 Chittas for Rupavachara. Then for the Asubha, we have 10 Asubha with first jhana. So they have another 10 Chitta. So it becomes 60. For the Metta, Karuna, Mudita, we have 3 jhanas or 4 jhanas in all Metta, Karuna, Mudita. So we have another 12. So likewise, in the Dhammasangani, especially the Rupavachara Chitta is classified in detail. So if you add these all Chitta, the number will go high for sure. Actually, it goes high. But in the 89 classification, what we do is we take all the Rupavachara Chittas and classify them on the jhana factor. So that's why we end up in 5 Kusala, 5 Kiriya, and 5 Vipaka, right? So this 89 and 121 is one way of classification. One way of classification. So this classification does not contradict with the Dhammasangani. But if someone tries to analyze the Chittas found in Dhammasangani, the number is very high. Like it has another way of Abhibhayatana. So few other ways of explaining the Chittas based on the, not only on the jhana, but sometimes based on the Patipada, how we attained Sukha Patipada, Dukkha Patipada, and the Sotapanna Chitta, Sotapatti Magga Chitta. It's a one Sotapatti Magga Chitta. First jhana Sotapatti Magga Chitta is explained as 1,000 ways, can be explained in 1,000 ways, 1,000 more. So there are, for that Chitta only, there are 1,000. For altogether, if you classify Maggapala Chittas, we have 8,000 on that spot only. So likewise, the Dhamma Sangini has a very detailed classification. So that's why the number is very high. But the 89 classification is bringing them into a very common grounds and explaining in a very short way, which I find is very suitable and very helpful for the beginners.
Oh, okay, Bhante. So does it mean that
don't get worried about that? 89 chitta we study, and Dhamma Sangini we have a different number of chittas. And what are these extra chittas? No, it's just 5 Rupavachara chittas have been explained based on the Kasina, based on the Asubha, based on the Abhibhayatana, based on the Metta, and all this. That's how it goes up. So Sotapanna chitta is based on how you like Iddhipada, Indriya, Bala, Bojjhanga. So it becomes 1,000. So this is how it elaborates.
Okay, Bhante. So does it mean that we can say that what is covered in Abhidhamma Sangha is covering the general scope of the chitta that is possible, Bhante?
Sure. There is no chitta that cannot be doesn't include in the 89, which is apart from Dhamma Sangini. All the chittas can be put into this 89. There's no any single chitta that goes away from the 89.
Okay, Bhante. And is it okay if I ask one more question, Bhante? Still a little bit related, Bhante.
One more question.
So from your course in the fundamentals of the Theravada, Bhante, you mentioned about the 4, there are Paramattha Dhamma, Upadino Dhamma, Anupanna Dhamma, and Paramattha Jatika, Bhante. So are these things also elaborated in the Abhidhamma Sangha? If not, and then why they are not elaborated in Abhidhamma Sangha, Bhante? Because like it's like should be the compendium, the summary of the Abhidhamma, right, Bhante?
Because this is the different teachers have taken different approaches to explain the Dhamma. So Abhidhamma Sangha teacher has taken a different approach. He has taken a very nice, wonderful approach. So he comes in one way. But if you go into the Anusaya, can be found in 7th chapter, a part of Paramattha Jatikas, and also the Kamma in its Abhidhamma Sangha is a very short compendium. So its commentaries, sub-commentaries explain about this Kamma Samangita, and when you come into Vipassana meditation, the Anupanna Khanda is very important. Especially you find it in the Patisambhida Magga. So what I have done is I have gathered all and try to explain them, because these are the things that really mattered to me when I was trying to understand all the Dhamma in a holistic way and try to understand what is this Buddhist philosophy. So that's why I wanted to bring it like that. So otherwise, Abhidhamma Sangha, we cannot ask the question. Personally, I feel we cannot answer the question why he didn't bring, because personally I feel that it's his approach. So if I don't think he would disagree with this classification which I have given, because I have referred to the references from here and there, and then the thing is, when we want to explain the Vipassana meditation till the Arahanthood, these are the bottlenecks that has to be cleared. If these Anupanna Khanda, Upadino Dhamma, and Paramattha Jatikas are not elaborated, there will be some difficulties in understanding about the Nirvana, Nibbana, about the eradication of suffering, and how the Nibbana can be Anupanna Nirodha. So these things will be a little bit difficult to understand. So my purpose was to teach this, to bring this to my final aim is to bring them to the knowledge of Arahanthood, how to meditate till Arahanthood. So that was my main final aim. So keeping that as the aim, I created this course. But Abhidhamma Sangha was created, my personal idea is looking at to study the Abhidhamma doctrine. So these words you cannot find in the Abhidhamma doctrine. This approach that I have made. So for the studying of the Abhidhamma doctrine, Abhidhamma Sangha is a very nice approach. That is a wonderful approach. That's why it has flourished for these thousands of years. But if you want a person who has studied the Abhidhamma doctrine and wants to go into Vipassana meditation, based on that knowledge, has to study some extra points that were given in the Patisambhida Magga specifically. So my intention was not, why do you need to study them separately and another phase? Why shouldn't we bring it from the beginning and give the students? Because in the courses, I'm not explaining them in detail in the first place. They will be explained later in the final stages of the course, very, very later ends, even after the causality that have to be explained. So Abhidhamma Sangha teacher, I think their approach was to study the Abhidhamma first, and when you go to Vipassana meditation technique, these things will be discussed. They have to be elaborated, and they are mentioned in the Patisambhida Magga and its commentary. So maybe that was his approach. My approach was taking them all as one, Abhidhamma and Vipassana, taking them all as one, and the course was aiming to bring the student to the final goal of how to, with the knowledge, to attain the Arahant. That's why I have changed the order.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you very much, Bhante. Those 4 things are like the one that you mentioned in that course is really like opening a new insight, Bhante. It's really, really useful, Bhante.
Sorry.
By the way, Bhante, has the course concluded? Like all the videos on YouTube, or the course are already concluded?
I had more time. I just did only 62 lectures, and some are still to be uploaded because my Bhante's friends are a little bit busy with the construction of the monastery, so they were not unable to upload. I think they have uploaded 52 till. There are 10 lectures to be uploaded.
Oh, okay, Bhante. So the final number is 62, right, Bhante?
Yeah, 62.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you very much, Bhante. Waiting for that course, the rest of the course.
I think don't worry, because Bhante has a new planning for open a new class for the fundamental teachings. So maybe in this month. So we will fix the date.
Amazing.
Yes.
Waiting for that.
Yeah. So Bhante, I think according to this, I think you need another Q&A for the fundamental teachings.
That we need to do once a week, and 1 hour teaching and half an hour Q&A.
Okay, Bhante.
So Bhante, yeah, in fact, I mean, when you taught that course, I think I was in the DAB, so that's why I didn't have time to attend that course. I also watching the YouTube videos. In fact, I have a lot of questions, and then I, in fact, wish that I had been attending your class, that I could ask questions. So
I'm thinking to start on 17th of January, and I made a mistake sadly yesterday, because the time has to shift to night, not in the morning. I was mistaken.
Shift to night.
Night. That's what because there will be some students joining from UK, as far as I know.
So nighttime is what time? You repeat?
That will be any time between after. It can be any time after 6 or from till I'm available till 10 something. So any time between that, 1.5 hours will be the course. Like from 6 to 10, 10:30, anytime we can fix, depending on the student.
what time are you talking about, Bhante?
Night, evening.
No, I mean nighttime. When you since that 6 from 10, what time? Sri Lankan time?
Yeah, sorry, Sri Lanka. Because some students, some are joining from US, and some maybe from Canada and UK. As far as the information I got, not confirmed, and some may join from Australia. So it is like time is like scattered, but we cannot give for all, because Australia and US is completely different time zones. So and especially England. So I'll be focusing on the Western Hemisphere, like to match the US and UK's audience and the Asian audience. So if I do it around 7, 8 in the night, it will be morning in US 7, something like that, right?
It depends on what coast that you're talking about, Bhante.
What,
Eastern or Western?
West Coast or East Coast. So
Oh,
may I have a request? So
Yeah.
please push it as late as possible, Bhante.
Push it
Push the time as late as possible.
late as possible. Okay.
Yes, because you
Myanmar,
said that you can
Myanmar
do
will be
until
1 hour. Yeah.
yes. So you said that you can do until 10. So please maybe from 8:30 to 10.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 8:30 to 10, but then it will be 11 in Myanmar, right?
Because if you start at 8:30, then over here, on my time, it's going to be like, I think it's 6 or 7. Let me check. 6 or 7 in the morning.
Oh, okay. Still very early, right?
Yes.
In Myanmar,
But I mean, that
maybe,
should be fine.
maybe middle night.
Okay, we'll discuss on this and come into concluding. I'm planning on 17th actually. I'm thinking to plan because before that I'll be distributing the handout, complete handout for the first chapter, and then based on that I'll be doing not typing on the screen. I'll be using the board. Everyone can see with the camera.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, Bhante. So maybe we have to create another Viber group.
So shall we call it today?
Yes, Bhante.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. Bhante's connection is very good today.